We are finally seeing the video evidence that completely flipped the script on an ICE shooting in Minneapolis during Operation Metro Surge. The video was released today by the city, and it shows a confrontation on January 14th between an officer and two men that lasted just about 12 seconds, and it resulted in that officer shooting one of those men in the leg. It also shows what did not happen, contradicting all the claims by Homeland Security early on that the agent was violently attacked by people with shovels and broom handles for 3 minutes before that shooting. Federal authorities, weeks later, backpedaled that original story and began investigating the agents who told it. And now we know why. Here's Kent.
Jana, this is the shooting that took place between the deadly shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. But unlike those cases, the video here caused the federal government to do a complete 180, now saying officers appear to have lied under oath. But the question is, what will come of the investigation, and will it have any impact on other ICE shootings? Nearly 3 months after this North Minneapolis shooting unfolded, the Department of Homeland Security's original news release blaming 3 violent criminal illegal aliens remains posted online. But the official message has changed. A Homeland Security spokesperson confirming that 2 separate ICE officers are now under investigation, adding, quote, lying under oath is a serious federal offense. The U.S. Attorney's Office is actively investigating these false statements.
It's one of the easiest perjury cases I've ever seen.
Robert Weisberg is a professor of criminal law at Stanford and says the shift in tone would be surprising if the video wasn't so clear and public.
This is getting a lot of attention simply because, well, the whole world was watching Minnesota, and the absolute blatancy of the lies. Even this Justice Department, I think, feels quite angry and embarrassed about what the officers did.
But while the officers' statements may have been an outlier, it's hardly the first ICE shooting to come under legal scrutiny.
This is endemic to the culture of that organization and how the boots on the ground are hearing the messages from the bosses about what they should be doing.
Jim Bierman, a former police chief and president of the Future Policing Institute, says while the DOJ has dropped charges against the immigrants involved in the North Minneapolis shooting and 2 others who were shot in Chicago by Border Patrol, he'll be watching to see if the officers are actually prosecuted, especially now that DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and Attorney General Pam Bondi have been removed.
It is in everybody's best interest that the new leadership in these agencies resets the organizational culture in a constitutionally correct manner. And if they don't do that, then this is a bit like rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. You're still going to have bad outcomes.
This would be an easy thing for the government to do to try to at least mitigate its bad reputation.
But Weisberg says he doesn't believe it changes anything in the cases of Renee Good or Alex Preddy.
There's no real subtlety to this one because unlike the other cases, the video shows that the officers' statements were just flagrantly false.
Now, if these officers are charged and convicted, Professor Weisberg says they could face up to 5 years for making false statements and slightly more than that for lying under oath. Now, even if that happens, he said it's unclear if the officer who shot could face charges related to their use of force. He says that would be a much harder case to prosecute, and he says it's unclear even if they're considering that, Jana.
Yeah, we have gotten no word that that's been a consideration, but we don't get a lot of information in these investigations at all.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks so much, Kim.